Did you know that it is Black History Month this month? Well, it is. And to honor this, I'm going to be doing a deep dive into some legends of Black music. I was on Instagram and I seen this video, this post, and I thought I'd share it. I just wanted to celebrate some Black music legends and icons. The caption saying the Black History Month. This Black History Month, we honor the Black artists who shaped the sound of the world. In 1926, historian Carter G. Woodson founded Negro History Week, which later became Black History Month. It was created to document and celebrate Black achievement in the face of erasure. Music stands at the heart of that history. Black artists created genres like jazz, blues, soul, funk, reggae, Afrobeat, hip hop, and gospel. They transformed language, resistance, identity through sound. These legends made the world listen. They made the world feel. And this month, we celebrate their influence and their legacy. Which Black musician shapes you? Tell us below. So when I've seen this post, I've looked through it and I've realized, yeah, we did create hip hop and gospel, but there's other genres that we did actually create. And then that is grime, which goes into drill. So this later bit that I'm going to talk about is actually to talk about grime and drill. But right now, I'm just going to walk you through this bit first. So obviously we have Fela Kuti, we've got Michael Jackson, we've got Sade, we've got Angelique Kidjo, Bob Marley, Stevie Wonder, Lauryn Hill, Salif Keita, Nina Simone, James Brown, Cesaria Evora. Actually, I don't even know who this is. This is my homework. I'm gonna have to look into this lovely person here. Youssou N'Dour, Aretha Franklin, Lucky Dube, and yeah, that's it. So, who are your favorite Black artists? Tell them in their comment below, and also why not just put it in my comments below as well. And if you don't know anyone just like I don't, it's time to do some research and get your knowledge up. So I seen this and it inspired me to kind of think about Black History Month. What is Black History Month in terms of music? Then I started thinking about drill, grime, and the UK scene. So yes, it is Black History Month, but it's Black History Month in the US. We have one later. I've done a few videos already and I thought, okay, let me try and focus in on the UK. What's happening in the UK right now? And I've kind of found two drill artists that have in their own way made history. So I thought that I would go through these things with you guys right now. So first of all, we're going to get to this guy here, Digga D. So Digga D, he's an artist. He's from London and he's a member of the, not a member, but he's part of the drill scene. And without Digga D, the drill scene wouldn't be where it is right now. From his artistry, he's blown up. He's gone to prison, come back, but he did have 5 years in a CBO order, which is a criminal behavior order. And this is what required him to give all of his lyrics to the police or risk being sent back to prison. He's recently has been released, as I said before, and he tried to actually get into streaming. Probation blocked that. But what he hasn't done is let that get him down. And what he's now done instead is got into politics, and he's recently been advocating with other artists to change the laws of lyrics being used as evidence in court. So he's used his past experiences and then found a way to positively make a difference within the law and in the scene. And this is to support a group called Art Not Evidence. Before I show you who Art Not Evidence is, I just had a little clip here that I wanted to show you.
Black men and boys who've increasingly been prosecuted with reliance on their enjoyment of rap and drill music. Disgraceful, my lords. And this has been allowed to go on for some years now. Even more outrageous, there are groups and units of mostly middle-aged white police officers who hold themselves out as expert witnesses to translate this music and these lyrics and the patois for juries.
So yeah, so what that video is basically saying is that there's these lyrics that are here that are people either showing their experiences of their own or others, celebrating or raising awareness into the culture. But then what is being happening is that the law, and when it comes into experts, lyric experts who mainly are just working for the police, they're using these lyrics and warping them in order to fit their own prosecution and their own aims. This was all done. Digga D went to the parliament, and it was all in order to help a group called Art Not Evidence. So I have a video here of Art Not Evidence, and I thought I'd just show you it.
Have you ever considered that the music that you're listening to may have landed others in jail? I'm a practicing barrister, and I've watched with alarm as prosecutors have put music videos, lyrics, and notebook scribbles before juries to secure convictions for the most serious of crimes. In almost all cases, the person in the dock is a young black man. And it's always rap music that's used to suggest their criminality. Rap is the most popular form of music across the country. It's produced Glastonbury headliners, chart toppers, and multi-award winners. Yet despite this, the music's stirring innovative traits of storytelling, symbolism, and lyrical creativity are increasingly ignored in the court setting. In the vast majority of cases, this evidence is reliant on highly racialized stereotypes of young black men and rappers as gangsters and criminals. Rap is art, not evidence, and it's time to stop it appearing in court. Please join us now at artnotevidence.org. Thank you.
So yeah, that is Art Not Evidence. They do some really good stuff. Kerr Monteith, I think his name was. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. That's kind of what they do. And what I wanted to do is just make sure that you guys know about them. Because I do know a lot of people that have got into trouble themselves just to do with, if not lyrics, just not connotations, but cross-admissibility, and then allowing inferences into court and allowing the jury to make inferences or fill the gaps into things that haven't been said, which then they're going to patch things in. So for example, Digga D says some lyrics. Digga D said it about someone that's passed away. This person that's passed away, they've got the same name as someone else. Now, the police have gone and took Digga D's lyrics, for example, and said these lyrics are about this person that's alive. Now, this person that's alive, you said this thing. So now we're going to make this person go to prison because of what you've said. Obviously, this is just a hypothetical scenario. I don't think this is what's happening with Digga D. It's not happening with what happened with my friend, but I'm just letting you know just what the prosecution do, and then what's then allowed the jury to put those people away. It's called cross-admissibility and inferencing. Look into it if you can. So then there's this one post from The Guardian here. And yeah, this is just basically a bit more just to show you what the Parliament movement is actually trying to do. I know obviously there's loads of things going on online, but I wanted to show you a bit more in depth. So this is from The Guardian, and it's saying campaigners urge UK ministers to make music lyrics inadmissible in court. Art Not Evidence Group wants a change in law that currently allows lyrics by defendants to be presented as evidence of gang affiliation. So like I just said, you may not even be in a gang, you may not even rep a gang, but you might just have a friend of a friend that's in a gang, and you might have just been seen saying hello to this person, and now you've ended up being affiliated with the gang. So you're not a member of the gang, but you're now affiliated with the gang. And then this is what's now happening, is now they're allowing lyrics to be used as evidence to get people affiliated in gangs put away. So campaigners are urging ministers to change the law. They want to change the law so that music lyrics are inadmissible in court, which means not allowed in court. A shift that they say would stop a practice that disproportionately affects young black men and criminalises creativity. What you've seen a lot is through research and statistics is that this law only really affects black men in the music scene. There's not many other white men in the UK music scene that this has been applied to. But at present, police can produce lyrics written by defendants and even flag an appearance in the background of a music video as evidence that a suspect is affiliated with a gang or involved with criminality. So, for example, now I've got a song and a music video and I'm posted in my local area. They could take a screen grab of me in that area with these people and say, you're from this area. I know now that you are from this area, and I also knew that this other person's from this area. Because you're both from this area, you guys are affiliated. And if you guys aren't affiliated, you both hang out in this area, and this is evidence because you have a music video here. So this is how like little tiny strands can be like forged together. Like they're two separate strands, but what they're doing is just gluing these two strands together to make a prosecution, to make an argument. So campaign groups want a change to the Victims and Courts Bill, which is currently making its way through Parliament. This is what happened a few weeks ago. They want to stop police from being able to present lyrics as evidence, except when they are literal rather than figurative or fictional. And this is a lot of things when it comes to lyrics and creativity. Sometimes they may be figurative or they may be fictional. So unless my man said, yes, me, my name's KP, and I robbed that shop on the 18th of January, like, unless you're saying that, they're trying to say that they don't want any lyrics to be used in court as evidence unless it is literal. You know what I'm saying? So this is kind of what they're doing here. And I had a little other quote here that I found. And this is another thing that's been said during the case. What we're seeing today reflects a long history of black art and culture being policed as threatening or disorderly. And this goes as far back as 1688. Slave codes banned instruments in the Caribbean for fear they may incite rebellion. On top of that, we've had decades of narratives presented by tabloids and politicians that depict one-dimensional murderous drill rappers entrenching racist stereotypes about black youth and rap in the national psyche. It was only 2006 when David Cameron blamed One Extra, saying that grime music causes kids to carry knives, and other similar things happened in the UK garage jungle and party rap like Bassline Up North. Because of all of this, when some generic rap music that has nothing to do with the case is presented to a middle-aged white jury and presented by a police officer, it sadly works very well for the prosecution to get their conviction. So why I've included this quote, I'm going to try and get the link for this as well, it will be in the description, is this isn't anything new. It's been happening since 1688, which then suggests that this is institutional. This has been something that's happening then, it's happening now, and it's the same thing with a different name on it. There's a different sticker on it, right? And it's actually just quite disheartening, really. It's happened with garage, it's happened with jungle, it's happened with party rap, it's happened with grime, and now it's happening with drill. So I kind of wanted to walk through what actually is trying to be pushed when it comes to the law. So here's the clause that they're trying to insert. So what they're trying to say, and by they I mean art, not evidence, is they're trying to give evidence, their own evidence and their own reasoning and their own thought process. They've wrote it down and they've just said, this is what we think the law should be. So I'm just going to walk you through this law here. So creative and artistic expression, admissibility in criminal proceedings. So number one, evidence of a person's creative or artistic expression, whether original or derivative, shall not be admissible in evidence against that person or another person in criminal proceedings unless the conditions in subsection 2 are met. So these are the conditions in subsection 2 that are met. This is what they're saying can be allowed. The conditions in the subsections are that the court is satisfied to the criminal standard that A, the expression has a literal rather than a figurative or fictional meaning. B, where the expression is derivative, the person who created the derivative work intended to adopt the literal meaning of the work as that person's own thought or statement. C, the expression refers to the specific fact of the crime alleged. D, the evidence is relevant to an issue of fact that is disputed. And E, it is necessary to admit the evidence as the issue cannot be proven by other evidence. I don't really like E, because that's just them basically saying that the prosecution don't have any other evidence. But they have this little thing here, like, yeah, he's affiliated to a gang member, so let's just throw this piece in here. So I don't like this last one here, but the other ones do make sense. This basically just says that it's literal. The person who created it intended to adopt the literal meaning. So fake it till you make it kind of thing, which is hard to prove once again. So if you could prove that, then yeah, let's have that in. The expression refers to specific facts of the crime alleged. So, like I said, my man got wetted on Stapes. If someone did get wetted on Stapes, like some happened the other day, and someone's made a song about it, and the evidence has led to it being this person, and then the songs come out, it only really makes sense that that is a circumstantial piece of evidence that could be put together. Cool. 3. In deciding whether the conditions in subsection 2 are met, the court must have regard to linguistic and artistic conventions of the expression, the social and cultural context of the expression, and the context in which the expression was created, including, but not limited to, A, the extent to which the expression conforms to the conventions of its genre, B, when the expression was created and whether it was created before or after the crime alleged, C, where the expression takes the form of written or spoken words, who wrote the words, D, where the expression takes the form of lyrics or music, how the creator intended it to sound or be heard by the listener, E, where the expression takes the form of a video, the role played by the relevant participant with mere presence not being sufficient. F, when the party making the application seeks to rely on an excerpt from the expression, how the excerpt fits into the broader context of the expression. G, whether the expression contains information not readily available to the individuals it would be used against. So what this is basically saying is that who wrote the words? You cannot say that this is evidence because unless you found out who it is that's wrote these words. As you know, there's a lot of artists that go to sessions and things might get thrown out left, right and center. Oh, put this in. Oh, it rhymes. Oh yeah, that works. That helps me fill out these bars. So what they're saying is, yeah, cool, the lyrics might have been said by this person, but was it even this person that wrote these lyrics? That's one thing that they need to be looking into. How do we know that what was said has those intentions? You know, there's a lot of things that are double entendres. There's a lot of things that can be said that can be miscommunicated via text, via email, via writing, via voice notes. There's a lot of things that can be misinterpreted. So what are the intentions of the person that said it or the creator? And in the role of the video, just presence isn't sufficient enough. You can't just have this piece of evidence without having underlying foundational evidence. I think it's what part 3 is saying. So they're saying we don't want this information in, but if it has to be in, it has to meet these things in. But if you're gonna put these things in, and if it meets part 2, it needs to be able to meet part 3. Now we're gonna go into part 4. The court shall not make a determination under subsection 2 unless except on the written or oral evidence of an independent expert who, in the opinion of the court, is suitably qualified to give evidence about the linguistic and artistic conventions and the social and cultural context of the creative or artistic expression. So what that's trying to say is, what happens a lot at the moment is people that work for the police force are being deemed experts, and they might be CID, and they might be criminal investigation department members, and they might have a lot of evidence on this one person, but that does not make them expert in cultural, social, economic, and other areas that would deem you an expert in order to say that these lyrics mean these things. So what 4 is trying to say is, if you're gonna get these evidence in and it meets part 2 and 3, it at least needs to be backed up by an expert in the right field. 5. When a court admits evidence of a person's creative or artistic expression in criminal proceedings under this section, it must redact any part of the evidence in respect of which, if in the opinion of the court is prejudicial, effects outweighs its probative value. So once again, if there's any prejudice into anything, you've got this piece of evidence and there's prejudice that's backed by this evidence, even if the expert has said this, that, and the other, or before it's even got to the expert saying it, you need to be looking and being like, is this prejudicial? Because a lot of the things, like I've just said, is very much is very much into the system, indoctrinated into the system, is very much institutional, and there's lots of unconscious bias that happens when it comes to young black men. So we need to think about whether this creative or artistic expression is prejudicial. Are you just saying that this is a bad thing that's been said just because this person is from a lower economic area in London? If someone from Chelsea said these lyrics, would you have the same kind of vim for them? And then finally, part 6, when a court admits evidence of a person's creative or artistic expression in a trial on indictment under this section, the judge must give such directions to the jury as they think necessary to ensure that the jury's consideration of that evidence is not influenced by racial or other stereotypes. So what this is again is, the judge needs to make sure that the jury understand that this is just a piece of circumstantial evidence and it is not the whole picture. The judge needs to go the extra mile in order to say that this is a bit of evidence that's been handed to you, but this is not the be all and end all of the evidence, and there's a bigger story. So this is one thing as well that needs to be done. The judge really needs to be going the extra mile, and that doesn't mean just ticking boxes. You need to make sure that those tick boxes have subsections A, B, C, D, and you're going through this list, because at the moment, what I've seen when it comes to judges, they've got a lot of things going on and they want to get these things through as quickly as possible to go on to the next one. Yeah, and this one's a bit covered, but the members' explanatory statement. The new clause, it attempts to prevent unjust criminal convictions obtained by prejudicial over-reliance on a person's musical taste as probative of criminal proclivity or intent. So this is basically what it is. We're trying to get these things pushed through in order to prevent prejudice in regards to someone's musical taste. So this was a bit of a breakdown into what the laws were trying to be pushed through, and I thought I'd give a bit of a breakdown into that. So now we've got the actual amendments being put through in the courts. I thought I'd just show you a bit of it. Here's the link here, I'll put it in the description. It's from Art Not Evidence as well, posted 7 days ago of recording. But just give this a listen to. Why I'm doing this video is because when it comes to things like this, it's very much being presented very much surface level, or it's being presented like this in the House of Commons. And I'm just trying to make for this video have a bit of a middle ground, and hopefully my research, what I've done, has helped you to understand a bit more of this a bit more clearly.
12, Amendment 61, Baroness Chakrabarty.
My Lords, this group contains 2 amendments that seek to address dangerous practices relating to criminal evidence. Whilst this bill does much to protect victims of crime, our justice system must also protect people from becoming victims of miscarriages of justice. Both of the problems we identify have already led to serious wrongful convictions and risk many more in the future. Amendment 62, my lords, I share with my noble friend and dear old friend, the Baroness Lawrence of Clarendon. So if honour by association was as easy as guilt by association, I would be honoured indeed. I ask members of the committee to consider whether they've ever indulged in crime procedurals as a guilty pleasure, whether reading them or watching them on their favourite streamer after a long night in committee in your lordship's house. I think Middle England is addicted to these dramas, whether on TV or in books. The creativity behind them is big business. But what if those who participated in the creation of that art, or even just enjoyed it, found themselves prosecuted on the basis that that interest was somehow probative of criminal intention or propensity?
So yeah, this baroness here, they're saying a lot of in court jargon, but what they basically said is this affects so many people. It has already affected so many people, but where does the line of this law end? Because if there's guilty by association, there should also be honour by association. So this baroness here is a member of the parliament, is an advocate for change, and in the law system, as we know, there are some people that are skewed and have done unlawful things, although they are part of the law. So then does that then mean that this lovely lady here is now guilty because of what the other person in the law has done? So it was almost like, where does the law get cut? Because at the moment, this isn't what's happening. So if it's not happening in the House of Lords and in Parliament, and it's not happening in the acting scene, and it's not happening anywhere else, why is it happening in the music scene? We already got the Epstein things, etc., etc. If that's the case, everyone in the files, everyone needs to be shipped off, because that's making you guilty by association. But as we're going to come and see, is that that's not what's going to happen. There isn't going to be any guilty by association. Maybe even the guilty people probably will even go down. So why is it in the music scene, when it comes to young black men, is this happening? And that's basically what she's just said here. Art Not Evidence had like a bit of a write-up of this, so I thought I'd read it through and then just give my opinion. So peers from across the House supported raising the threshold for admitting music lyrics and videos as evidence. Lord Bailey of Paddington summed the problem up with eloquence and powerful advocacy, drawing on his experience as a youth worker to underline the danger of treating artistic expression as literal confession. Much of the bragging and the boasting is simply that. Bragging and boasting about fictitious situations that they hope will never be in, and that we are also hope that they never be in. To present that in court as some kind of evidence of their associations and their behaviour is a slippery slope. So this is another thing, like I said, fake it till you make it, or using someone else's experiences of your own to write, using someone else's experience to write that and share those experiences. That's what happens a lot when it comes to the rap scene. So then to do this and to berate someone because of what they've done creatively is a slippery slope. Both baronesses reiterated that the proposal is not a blanket ban. So they're saying it's not going to be whatever in all lyrics. They've said that it will introduce a rebuttal presumption requiring prosecutors to prove that creative expression is literal, directly linked to the alleged offence and necessary to the case. So, for example, if there's a case to do with burglaring or domestic violence, why is someone's gang affiliation, when there's not even affiliation, being used as evidence? It needs to be necessary to the case. I think I might have fudged up my explanation there, but that's pretty much what it means. Then Baroness Kedron stated that her support through the vital remark that if I was guilty of the total creative expression that I have consumed, I would have been locked up for life. You may be an artist, you might be a painter, and you might paint your best piece ever, and you might put that on Instagram. Then someone might be like, hey, that painting looks like this. Wait, hold on, that's wrong. You're guilty. Boom. If that was to happen, like, where does the line get drawn? Where does it get drawn here? Lord Russell of Liverpool also stood up to speak on the unusual and alarming fact that in these cases the defence used experts who would be able to talk knowledgeably in the sort of detail that the noble Lord Bailey, whereas the prosecution used different so-called experts who are often police officers. He concluded that that in itself tells you that there's something wrong. So the defence have to go and get crazy expensive experts from all the way across the world and bring them here to defend the person on trial, whereas the prosecution, like, they only have to just go get Joe from HR to go and talk. And this is where it's then coming down to, it's not fair. There is no fairness here. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. The minister indicated that the government will await the outcome of the CPS consultation before considering legislative change. In response, Baroness Chakrabarti noted that the CPS should not be left to mark its own homework. Peers made clear that absent substantive government action, the issue will return at report stage. So this basically just means that it hasn't been denied, but it hasn't been accepted. It's just kind of in a grey area. It's in a bit of a limbo here. And it's going to be looked at in the future. And that is a bit of a displeasurable thing to kind of like read after someone's put through all this evidence and put all the hard work in. Everyone also go and watch this yourself if you've got the time and capacity to do so. So now I wanted to talk about someone else now called DSAVV. So why I want to talk about this is because sometimes the right way may not even be the legal route. And why I say that is because they've just went and done all their hard work, they've done everything, and they still haven't been heard. All people want to do is be heard, and sometimes you're just not heard. So sometimes when you're not heard, you have to take action into your own hands. And this is what they've done on this side. They went to Parliament, they took action, they still haven't been heard. So now what happens when you've said something, you're trying to speak up for yourself, for example, and you're still not heard? Sometimes you take action, but maybe it may not be a parliamentative action, it may be another action. So now I want to talk to you about DSAVV. So DSAVV here, he's another drill artist, and he's been in the news recently. And why he's been in the news is because recently he's been arrested. In 2022, he was arrested, and he was arrested for cryptocurrency robbery. And he was set to be deported in Ghana in the coming months. He's in the news recently, though, because he's escaped from prison not once, but twice. And since he's been on the run, he's actually posted a video.
I just broke out a jail like Modi, for the government from their phony. Marcus Schofield man's calling, police. On the roads, I'm a legend like Kobe, but can't go wrong like Kobe. First film, that's like free cannabis, champagne and rollies. She ain't dealt with a body like this when I step in the town, it's free cannabis. Yeah. Everyone in town was free cannabis, just put in the work and change your mindset if you actually want some of this. It's greatness. I pray to the Lord and all of this. She never ever dealt with a brother like this when I step in the town. There's free cannabis, free cannabis, free cannabis.
So yeah, that's DSAVV. He's dropped this video recently. And when people see this, they're going to be seeing he's out, he's taking the piss, he's gone out and he's being flashy. But to me, when I hear these things, I hear someone that is trying to speak their mind. So he said, fuck the government, man, they're phonies. That makes me think, what did the government do to you? phony is a big word. Phony has a lot of connotations to the word, but to me it comes as you're a liar, you're fake, you're not genuine, which then makes me think, okay, what ungenuine thing has the government done to you, DSAVV, that you needed to break out and go straight to doing your creative passion and tell your story? So then he says, on roads I'm a legend like Toby. So then you want to ask yourself, who is Toby? Toby was a slave. Toby had a real name. His real name was Kunta Kinte. And what Kunta Kinte did was he escaped from slavery. Now, he's put these lyrics in there for a reason. So he has also escaped from the law. As you know, slavery was wrong. Some people say that prison is modern day slavery. And on top of modern day slavery, when it comes to prison, there's also then trap life, and there's also being a trapper. And trap has the abbreviation of take risks and prosper, but people also see that trapping is a trap. It's something that's been embedded into the system in order to keep people down, just like slavery was done. So there's a lot of things that are embedded into this one lyric here, but I see it as DSAVV has gone out of his way. He's got out of prison, however he's got out of prison, and he's gone to share his story for a bigger purpose.
Everyone in town was speaking of this. Just put in the work and change your mindset if you actually want some of this. It's greatness. I pray to the Lord and none of this. She never ever dealt with a brother like this. When I step in the town, let's speak of this. Speak of this. Speak of this.
But yeah, it really just makes you think, okay, he's enjoying himself, he's enjoying his freedom, but he's went and said those lyrics are in there for a reason. Why are they there? Has someone done something that he morally disagrees with? I don't know his case or his circumstances, but with cross-admissibility and inferences at the central point of the UK, this is something that is now made me think about it. After learning about inferences and filling the gaps, I've now used it to fill in the gaps of other areas, and it's made me fill in the gaps and see another side to what is being presented to us. Here is another thing here now, which I wanted to show you now. So DSAVV's escaped from prison. He's gone straight to pursuing his creative passions and telling his story. And now this has now come out in one of the news outlets. Boakai is, I don't know how to pronounce your surname, sorry, but is understood to have links to London gang OFB. So already gang is thrown here. Original Farm Boys, based on the Broadwater farm estate in Tottenham. He is known for his lyrics, boasting of committing knife crimes in one rap. He says, "Man plugged that shank in his socket. You should have saw the way he ran that muppet. Still, I caught him and I chinged that muppet. Crime scene juice got spilled like bucket." So no matter what you do, you're out, like even an artist outside of the courts. So he's not being persecuted for his lyrics by the courts. He's now being persecuted for his lyrics by the news outlets. So it's like you can't even get away from it. And I know that he's on the run and he's deemed as dangerous, but what you've got to note is that since he's been on the run, there hasn't been any violent mention of him. However, he's got out of prison. But it's not been said that he's took someone for a ransom and had a weapon to them and then that's how he got out. It just seems as if like he had an opportunity and he took the opportunity. He hasn't done it in a violent way. Yet, however, he's being portrayed as a violent person due to his lyrics. Why? I don't know. I'm not too sure what the agenda is as to why does these lyrics have to, what does these lyrics have to do with him escaping prison? You could have said, yeah, he's in a gang, cool, whatever, because that's what he's known as or whatever, but what has these lyrics got to do with his escape? And this is what I kind of want to say here. It's like, you're in court, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're trying to get this person away, prosecutor, and then you're just plucking things from here and here. just assassinate man's character, basically. DSAVV's been in prison. He's probably rehabilitated. He's gonna be deported, like I said, and maybe he's not supposed to be deported. Maybe he's got other things that he's trying to say. He probably said it calmly. He's probably done it this way, that way, the law way, whatever. And the only other way you could think of is, I need to get out, I need to go to the studio, and I need to tell my story. I need to make sure that my story is being heard, my voice is being heard. But yeah, that is kind of the end of it. But before I go, I just wanted to kind of remember, just talk about what we spoke about. We spoke about Black History Month, and we started on legends of the music scene. Then we've gone from legends of the music scene into two prominent drill artists right now, both fighting to be heard. So this is two people here from a similar background with two different stories that they want to show to the world. There's the Parliament side, and then there's escaping from prison in order to then be creative and show your talent and tell your story. This isn't a cry for help from them, but it is them demanding to be heard. And then when I think of these two artists doing two sides of the law to tell their story, it reminds me of two other prominent people in Black history that have both fought for Black rights in their own way. If you can make that connotation how I've done it, you could do that. But that's just made me think about it. Like, back then, there are people fighting for our rights. They did it calmly, did it through speech, and then they've done it also in other ways that they've had to do it just to be heard. But what I'm saying is that both things need to be said on both sides. Otherwise, nothing's heard. If you do one way, you do one way. If you do another, you do another way. But without everyone working together and doing every way, no change is ever really going to work. Fighting for freedom and fighting about lyrics in Parliament do seem like they are worlds apart, but really at the essence they have the same core meaning. I want to be heard, and you are going to listen to me. So this is my leaving message now. Wherever life takes you, there's going to be many directions that you can take, but what route are you going to take? Are you going to do a peaceful protest? Are you going to do an impassioned speech? Are you going to change Parliament laws? Are you going to run straight to your creative outlet and your passion and tell your story? The choice is yours. Regardless, though, it's Black History Month this month, and these two drill artists, Digga D and DSAVV, have made history nonetheless. And they may go unnoticed to other people, and it may be a bit subliminal, and I may be to some people reaching here, but to me, your both your efforts haven't gone unnoticed. What I'd like you guys to do is just educate yourselves a bit further into cross-admissibility, into inferences, into Black music, into Black legends, into institutional things that we spoke about in the beginning. And also share this to someone. If not sharing this video, share a different video that might explain it better to someone else, right? Yeah, I'm going to leave you with that now. It's a bit of a rant video, but I thought I'd do it anyway. I thought it was something that needed to be shared. It's Black History Month, like I've said. Black Mystery Month's all about celebrating, honouring Black people and Black history. And this happened in the present, but the present is history. And the history is the present. And there's a future, and I'm getting all deep in here now, so I'm gonna go, man. But yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. Have a nice day. Happy Black History Month to you guys. Peace.